Hi, welcome. This is Health Matters with me, Dishen Kumar, and we are here in Hotel Istana for the 21st Asia Pacific Region Conference from Alzheimer's Disease International. The whole point of the conference is actually to talk a lot about dementia, Alzheimer's, a lot of different types of diseases, elder care, but we have a very interesting spin on that. And we actually have a person who actually developed an app to actually help patients handle and also maybe help caregivers also give some information. So let's go on into more about that. And the app is actually called Remarkable Lives. So thank you, Mr. Owen, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So let's start off with the app, Remarkable Lives. What is Remarkable Lives?
So Remarkable Lives is an app that you can download from the App Store. And on Remarkable Lives, you create a profile for example, for an older relative. Mm-hmm. So it's good for young people to use it. It's like a social media app. Mm-hmm. You can connect with people, but the stories and the profiles are all private. Mm-hmm. Because you're dealing with older people, so it's quite sensitive. Okay. So they can download this app, create a profile for someone else, for a relative. And on there they can add photographs, old photographs that they find, that the family find, and all can put these together and then write the story behind the photographs, what was happening, and then just put a date, and the app creates a timeline that goes back in time for you. So you create this jigsaw puzzle of somebody's life.
Okay, and talking about that's very interesting, but what about the motivation of why you actually did this? Did you think that it was something very important for people to actually share? Because like we were talking earlier, you said nobody's going to write down their life story. So it's a very difficult thing to do. We all want to do it, but maybe this gives even younger people even a chance to actually talk about their older relatives, talk about their grandparents, talk about their parents and things like that. But talking about the motivation of why you actually started this.
Well, the motivation actually came from work I was doing in a care home. Mm-hmm. And I was working with this home, trying to help them find their story and to help them with raising their own profile. Mm-hmm. And one day I found myself in a room with 3 of their residents, and to me, they just looked like 3 old people. Mm-hmm. They were 3 old people. Mm-hmm. And I listened to their stories, mm-hmm. And I discovered all sorts of things about their own lives. And they were really fascinating. They took me on this journey back in time. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, this is really interesting. I'm getting this information. I then started to talk to carers who were in that care home, but they didn't have this information. They didn't really know the stories behind the people that were in their care, which is a big disconnect. So when I started putting these jigsaw together of people's lives, the carers started to take an interest. It might just have been a photograph or actually more of a story. And immediately you had a conversation between these people, between the carer and the older person, and then the family member coming into that as well. Perhaps they don't always have this information, this past information. Then you start to create this conversation, this dialogue, and you start to build empathy and understanding for that older person.
But that's the thing, with caregivers, isn't it more in homes? There's a lot of people in homes nowadays, and caregivers go through a lot of numbers in taking care of a lot of people. How much of that personalized caregiving do you think is important for modern caregivers to take care of the older people?
Well, I recognize 2 things. One of these things is that we all have medical records. So out there with the doctor, with the hospital, with the care home, those are our medical records. Mm-hmm. They're really important. But we don't have an equivalent record of who we are. And when you come to be treated for something, and particularly as we're here and talking about dementia and Alzheimer's, imagine somebody who has dementia and Alzheimer's. They have had an extraordinary life perhaps behind them. Well, they've had their life. That is extraordinary, it's remarkable. Yeah. But maybe they can't articulate that. Maybe they can't remember everything. They can't voice the key moments of their life. So somebody has to do that for them. So that is why it's so important for the caregivers to have that information. However, you're right. There's lots of people coming through the system. Caregivers are incredibly busy. Yeah. and they don't have a lot of time to gather this information, which is why we have created the public app so that the public, families, can add little bits of information when they can, when they find a photograph, when they think of a story. They create that community of support in the family around the older person. And then we have developed now a care app, and our public app and the care app connect. So the caregivers don't have to find the information is all supplied to them. It just links up, and then a caregiver can see that information there in front of them. And it's important that we've used technology as well, because some places don't have the technology, but in time they will.
Yeah.
But the technology is just to help facilitate that better human interaction. But it's also really important because it provides a permanent record. And a record that you can be assessed on as well by authorities, instead of just being on paper, because paper gets lost.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, talking about that, the demographic of your current viewers or your users in the Remarkable Lives app. What about that? Can you talk a bit more about the types of people using the platform that you have?
Well, we have different types of people. So we have younger people using it, and that's mainly they've come to it through other social channels that we promote on, through Facebook, Instagram, things like that. And they see the app, and it's not like a clinical app. It doesn't look like a hospital app or a doctor app. It is something that they might download for themselves. It's colourful, it's bright, it's intuitive, and we start the app by getting them to ask themselves some questions about who they think they are, where do they come from. So we're putting the younger person right in the frame, and we basically send them on a quest. You've got to save these memories before it's too late. Go and find these photos. Whose story do you want to tell first? You create as many as you like. So that is engaging for them, because it gives them something urgent to do. They're busy in their heads anyway, so this gives them a point of focus, and you think, a quest, I've got to fulfill this quest. And then, so that's younger people, but we also find people maybe in their 50s who are downloading the app, and they are saving the memories and recording moments from their parents' lives, particularly for an older parent who is going into care, maybe transitioning into care from being at home, who are maybe frankly feeling guilty and anxious about their older relative. Sometimes also resenting the time they have had to spend with their older relative because it takes up so much of your time, and that adds to the guilt. And then you want to make sure that the person who is caring for them has got all the information they possibly can have at their fingertips to give them really good care, to really understand their parent. And then you can walk away and get on with your own life for a bit in the knowledge that you feel reassured, you feel confident that somebody is really caring for them. Do you know, we also find though people who have recently retired downloading the app and using it as a sort of a short, snappy way of recording their own life story.
Okay.
People who say, I've lived this great life and I'm going to write my memoirs. They never will. They just don't get the paper out and start writing them out. And here's a way that they can, just on the app, they can go through a timeline, backdate it. The app does everything for them. You just put a photograph of them when they were, we saw some photographs this morning, from the wonderful presentation, the man who is living with dementia, stories from his life. He was so engaged. Well, you know, let's celebrate that engagement. All those photographs could be at little points on the app with a story, and it just backdates it for him. There's your memoir. So that's important, and it's important not just for him and his family, but for his future generations as well, who will never know him. But it's part of their identity, part of their family.
All right. Talking about that. Now, because we always see this app, you were saying it is designed like a social media app. So currently, Remarkable Lives, where is it mainly in the UK being used?
It's mainly in the UK. Well, it's in the UK. It's also in France. We're doing some work and trialing with care homes and health organisations in France. So it's translated there. This weekend, over the course of the ADFM conference, regional conference here in Kuala Lumpur, we have made it live here. It's live in Brunei as well. Wow, okay. So people can download it here.
Okay, so what is Remarkable Lives' aim or or objective, or how many countries do you guys want to reach? Is there set
Everywhere.
number everywhere?
There are how many? There are maybe I don't know, 650 million people over the age of 60 worldwide. So, and old people are everywhere.
Yeah.
And you know, as well, I'm perhaps not just doing it for older people now. I'm in my 40s. I'm actually doing this for me. We're hearing a lot in this conference about what the statistics will be in 2050. Well, in 2050, I'll be in my 70s.
Yeah.
So this is for me. I'm selfish.
Yeah, that's true.
So we want global domination, and why not? Because everybody has a remarkable story to tell, and everybody's life should be remarkable in some way and to someone.
All right, that's wonderful. How important is it, do you think, this app to be used by the younger generation? And is Remarkable Lives trying to get more younger people? Do you guys have any plans to get more younger people on it? Are you guys working together with Facebook, Instagram, more other social media platforms to get people to use the app more? Any strategies in that?
Well, I think that's, for us actually, one of the motivations, one of the really interesting things about coming here and being part of the Youth Engagement Program, YEP, is so that we can engage more with younger people. So these are really good ways for us to engage. We hope that we can give something back. It's easy for the young people to get involved because our app is free to download. So it's easy for them to use, something that they can identify with, they are familiar with. And then if they're using it, then they'll tell their friends, and by word of mouth and by reaching more people using other media, then we can hopefully grow.
All right. And since it's being launched in Malaysia, I will download it right away.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.